Welcome to a world where design shapes how we live. I am Colette Angelucci. On Designers Exchange, we step inside the minds of designers, estate agents, property developers, and luxury brands shaping beautiful living. We begin with their story, where they come from, what shaped them, and what they've built. This is where inspiration lives. Toni, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm honored to be here.
So, Tons, I want to hear your story. Where did it all start for you?
Oi, that's a long time ago. My honey, I think ever since I was a little girl, it was all about making stuff and painting stuff and drawing stuff and the creative stuff. I would skip the real homework and do the art projects first. I had a granny and a mom, both my grannies actually, who knitted and sewed and did tapestries and embroidered, all those old-fashioned skills.
You were in that environment already.
I was knitting my own jerseys when I was about 10. Making clothes for Barbie dolls with my mom's sewing machine when I was about 12. Just very sort of unremarkable childhood, but just very, very creative. And
I also said, it's really something that is in your blood. One is really born with it.
True. Yes, they are.
I don't think you can ever
you can't learn
you
to have
can't learn it.
An eye for balance and an eye for color and composition is not something you can teach somebody. It's not something you can learn. You either have it in you or you don't.
It's picking up the tiny little weave in fabric that will be the perfect match onto a project or onto a scheme that you're busy with.
All those little details that make such a difference at the end of the day. Nobody else ever notices them. But when they all come together, they form part of the whole.
What inspired the name Tones Spaces with Soul?
I have always been called Tones. It's one of my nicknames. Go figure. And when I lived in Knysna, as you well know, for about 7 or 8 years, I had a shop in the main road called Tones. Interiors, very original. And then I moved back to Joburg and I started a business, and then I started another business. And last year, I had this urge to rebrand. My previous business's name wasn't resonating with me anymore. I didn't feel connected to it. It didn't give me goosies. And my job has always given me goosies. So I was just sitting one afternoon and it was like a lightning bolt. It's like, duh. And I was also talking to a friend of mine where a client actually said to me that I did a very simple little renovation and refurb for their lounge. And she walked in and she said, space feels like it's got a soul now. And that gave me goosebumps everywhere, because interior design, as beautiful as it can be, some spaces are so perfect. There's not a thing out of place, and it's so styled and so
curated,
perfect word, that it actually feels like a museum and not a home. It feels like a showroom or a showpiece, and not a space that you can actually tuck your foot under your bum and sit comfortably, And playing around with the name, and I just thought, well, I'm bringing the soul back to interior design for good or for better or for worse. And so Tone Spaces with Soul just happened.
You also find sometimes that the name that you like, soul, for instance, or it just comes at the right time, where know that is what I should do. It's like a confirmation.
You walk on the path in faith, and the path you're meant to travel on will appear. You've got to take those steps. And I battled with the whole rebranding, and you ask 10 people and you get 10 different opinions, and 8 of them are negative and 2 of them are positive. And then you think, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 6 months. And then, I woke up one morning, I thought, well, if not now, when?
That is the right mindset to have on anything, I promise you. If not now, then when? Just do it.
And the only person who can make it happen is you.
Absolutely.
It's like nobody else is going to hold your hand.
Nobody actually cares as well. You do what makes you happy.
Exactly. And it's that whole getting over this whole thing, what do people think? And it's something I've battled with my whole life. My mom is paranoid about what people think.
I wonder
think
if
it's
it's a
something we were-
creative thing.
I think so. Because
We
you
all
always
our
feel like
creators are exactly the
everybody's judgy, you know?
same. Sure.
And, well, here's to judgment.
And I think it was a great
You know.
change. And well done on that. And congratulations
my
on
darling.
your new company.
Well, I thought I'd do it the grown-up way for a change. And I made sure that all the pieces were in place before I worked really hard on my website and curated all the pickies. And
Okay, my next question to you was, when did you first realize that design could emotionally affect people? But I'm sure that where your name came to.
well, the
it
weird
just
thing
said-
is, it was even before that. It was with my little shop in Knysna. Look, my shop was no big deal. It was a little shoppy in the main road. But I selected the most amazing little pieces, and I'd only buy one or two, so that it wasn't a shelf full of 12 of the same
it
thing.
becomes personal.
And I had a client come in, and to pass the time, I had my sewing machine in the back, and I was making cushions. And the client came in, and I had just made like a story of 13 cushions. And she walked in and she said to me, "Where did you get those?" And I said, "I've just made them." And she said, "Can I take them all?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "But I need to ask you a favor. Will you bring them to me? Because I'm here in my little car," and we look outside, and she's in one of those little Noddy Alpha Spider sports car jobs. Couldn't fit the cushions in her car, not two of them, let alone 13. So I closed my shop up at the end of the day, and I ran the cushions up to her. And when we walked into her house, I said to her, "So where do you want me to put these?" There wasn't a stitch of furniture in her house. Beds upstairs, no chairs, no tables, no nothing, just markings of masking tape on the floor. And she said to me, "Just put it one side." She said, "I've got a sofa coming in here and chairs and this and that and the next thing." I have no idea where it came from. I looked at her and I said to her, "That's not going to fit in here." And she said, "What?" I said, "All that furniture you've listed, it's not going to fit in this space." And I walked through it with her and I said, "You need this and you need that for the chair." Like I say, I have no idea where it came from. And in front of me, she phoned her designer that she'd been working with, cancelled her, and said to me, "Okay, do my house."
Oh, fabulous. But it's also good. I mean,
And it was nothing like being thrown in the deep end. And off I went.
so Tones,
Yeah.
what is the first thing you notice when you walk into a client's face?
This is always a tricky one. But I can't lie. I have to be honest. It's always that one piece of furniture that looks like it is dead and it should have been buried. And they don't actually realize what is so wrong or so awful about it. We've all got our favorite pieces.
Yeah, because it's their favorite.
Move them into different spaces, style them with different accessories. If it's a really dead piece of furniture, gooi bietjie lap oor.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite a thing, isn't it?
And yeah, and some people, if they're in the financial, it's the left brain, right brain scenario. If you're in a job that is all about logic and routine and sort of a grid pattern kind of a vibe, it's okay to not realize that your spaces are not decorated. They just, people buy a couch, they stick it on the wall that it fits on and it lives there for 20 years, It's just not seeing the potential of your space, I suppose, is...
Basically everybody, I think even we included,
Yeah.
has got that little
The lelike ding.
section in your house where you just walk past and not pay too much attention. But funny enough, for myself, when I walk into a client space, bad paint jobs can
paint
really
jobs?
get to me
And no.
emotionally.
And I think even over the dead couch, because it can always be resuscitated. It's a bad curtaining job. When you're going to buy cheap curtains, at least make sure that they are hung properly.
Absolutely.
Pull them up properly, make sure the little pleats are even. Don't just yank the elastic
Oh,
and
no.
stick it on the hooks and
Every
it looks like a dish
Siemens
towel in
hook.
the window. Awful. Curtains can make or break a space.
Then how would you describe your personal design language?
Yeah, my style is mengelmoes.
But yet again, I've never seen a Meulen that actually works, because I often walk into client spaces and they buy things they like, rightfully so. We buy what we like, fair enough.
But it doesn't work together.
You've got to draw a line on what you like and what's actually going to work in your space. And not everything needs to be bought, unless you can balance it. You have got a huge talent for your balance and proportion with everything put together. I must give you that.
Oh, my angel, thank you. My home, I think it's also just a collection of pieces that I love.
But there is a certain balance and proportion type thing in the collection that you buy.
I think it's like an innate thing that I have.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things that I'm very grateful for. And, I can look at a piece of furniture and I can think, oh my word, that is so beautiful. But I know it won't work in my home. So I can walk away from it. But I can also be walking around a little vintage shop and I think, oh, that is so beautiful. And I know exactly what corner it's going to live in. And then it comes home with me.
So how do you normally help your clients to discover their own style?
I generally ask them questions about how they live when they're in their home. Do they like relaxed living? Do they like the new trend, slow living? I'm trying to embrace. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm loving the idea. Do they entertain a lot? Is it a formal environment or is it a casual environment? Once you've got that definition down, then you can start, do they like a coastal vibe? Do they like a glamorous chic vibe? Do they want an African ethnic vibe? So once they've said whether it's a casual or a formal style, then I just adapt from there. And does it always have to be a defined style? No, it can be a mix of a couple of styles, because that is actually what makes a space, gives a space layers, is when you mix different styles together in a way that makes the whole pleasing and comfortable and elegant and cozy to live in.
Absolutely. Tons, are there any trends at the moment that you're really loving?
Oh, you're going to like this one. Color drenching.
I'm obsessed.
I'm giving it a shot for Decorex.
Oh, you're doing Decorex? Oh, okay. I'm looking forward.
Just something we're going to have fun with. And this whole trend towards moving back in time, it's like a little bit retro. The retro stuff is coming back.
Retro's definitely coming back.
Do I like all retro stuff? Modern century is not my favorite.
Mid-century.
Mid-century modern, sorry. Listen to me. Mid-century modern's not my favorite, purely because all of the legs come out at the angle and they all look a little bit stick figurey. But that might even be me talking from what's the word, a biased angle. It's just my own preference is not that. But there's so much retro stuff happening, and there's so much bringing back the old and bringing back what worked.
Which trends do you think people should stop following?
Oh, there's a few. Beige on beige on beige on beige, and taupe and more beige and more beige and more beige. The neutrals have got their place, but please pop a little bit of color in. Just so bicky. White walls in a whole home, just stark white walls.
I do like a stark white wall if it's got texture on it, like wall paneling. But that's again what we talked about earlier, is the balance and proportion of a room. There should be enough balance and proportion to pull certain design ideas or trends off.
Absolutely. But leaving walls white because you don't want to paint or you don't want to run the risk of painting, it doesn't actually, because then they're just white by default. And working with a default base is always very difficult.
Do you think people are becoming more intentional about their spaces or their homes after recent years?
They reevaluated their spaces out of necessity, not necessarily because they wanted to. People had to reevaluate their space. And I think the sudden flood of information that came, as a result of that, where people were sharing recipes and tips and all these homey things online. Look, there was a lot of bad design choices out there, but a lot of good came out of it, where people were consciously selecting certain areas of their home to serve certain purposes, or choosing certain pieces of furniture for their home to meet certain needs, as opposed to just plonking a chair in a corner because you had the chair and you had the corner.
What elements, so if we're talking about creating atmosphere in a space, what elements add warmth and soul to a room?
Lighting is a biggie. Ditch those overhead downlighters. Lots of lamps, ambient lighting, concealed lighting, lighting behind pieces of furniture, lighting the uplights in pot plants, absolutely. Put lights on in your garden and sit in your lounge with the lights off, and the whole atmosphere changes, My 3 are lighting, sound, and smell. Remember your stand.
Yeah.
When we meet.
Till today.
I met
Everybody
you because
talks
of
about
your
that
stand
Joe
and how
Malone.
it smelled.
Till today. Oh, yes. So, Tans, on your business and your creative journey, what has your journey so far taught you?
Follow your gut. And don't ignore red flags. If you get that little tap, tap, tap at the back of your head or in your chest or in your tummy that something is off, or that you're not going to vibe or gel with a client,
that gut is not there for nothing and for no
intuition,
reason.
we so often override it because we think, I'm being silly. Ugh, most expensive lesson I'm learning and have learned is because I ignored a red flag.
Tell me about your worst possible job you had.
When I was working on Silver Star, we were opening, in December, we were opening the privé for 150 VVIP, the MVG cards for the gamblers are all the big thing. VVIP guests were all waiting outside, and we were putting the last touches to this perfect privé space. And I looked up and I thought, my curtains are changing color as I'm watching. And I realized it was water. What had happened was they'd sent someone into the ceiling to check the sprinkler valves, and they'd stood on a pipe and they'd closed the sprinkler valve, and the water had built up and it needed a place to escape, and it decided to escape through our privé ceiling. And literally we had hundreds of liters of water running down the walls, onto the floor, and you freak out and you run around like a mad thing. Then what do? You've got all these MVG card holders outside waiting to come in for this VIP experience. So we went out and we bought flip-flops and umbrellas. And we gave them all a pair of flip-flops because the carpets, we walked on them and they were going squishy, squishy with water. I mean, our carpet shrank because it was pure wool, custom-made carpet, just went.
That's a disaster and a half.
And all these men in their Dolce & Gabbana suits rolled their pants up and took the flip-flops on, and everybody just realized it was something that was beyond our control. Was it uncomfortable? Hell yeah. Did we do the best we could?
Absolutely. Tans, if someone is listening, wants to create more soul in their homes, where should they begin?
Have a look at your treasures. Have a look at what makes your heart feel joy, and turn those into features in your home. Have a look at pieces that maybe you've kept because you think you need to, pieces you've kept out of habit, pieces you've kept because you've got a chair and you've got a corner. Reassess your space. And it's kind of like decluttering your wardrobe. You kind of have to do the same in your space. If an item doesn't make you feel good looking at it or using it, get rid of it. It doesn't always have to be the most expensive thing that makes you the happiest, but it's the thing that makes you feel good, the thing that brings you joy. And that's how you can just add soul to your home. And then add lots of lamps, lots of smellies, and good music.
I think we can go on for hours.
We could. We always do.
But Toni, I'm so grateful, and I just want to thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
I'm grateful to you too, my angel friend.
And then good luck with everything in the future.
It's been fab. It's been fun. Thank you.
If you've enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, I'm your host, Colette Angelucci, and this is Designers Exchange.